Good evening. It's Good Friday in Holy Week of 2020, and there's a lot of reading we often do during this time, and a lot of it's so weighty, but also reveals itself. What I'm thinking about particularly is the suffering servant section we read from Isaiah. I've been referencing it off and on throughout our talks together as we look to Jesus, but here we have him. Here's we have him. He's sprinkling many nations. He is despised and rejected of man, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him, despised, and we esteemed him not. He bears our griefs, carries our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we're healed. Again, the shepherd imagery, but the substitute. He is the Lamb of God. And he is suffering for our behalf, on the cross. Smitten, stricken, and afflicted, as the hymn says. He made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He makes his soul an offering for sin. And then there's going to be a portion that comes from a fruitfulness. This dying of the seed is going to bring forth richness. But oh my goodness, the suffering, the chastisement of peace. This lamb, like the ram caught in the thicket being the substitute for us being like Barabbas, us being like Isaac, with a substitute coming for us in our stead. And the great exchange is made. We are all Isaac, we are all Barabbas if we are Christians. 1 Peter 2:11 to the end. It's interesting because it connects to what this has to do with our life. So it talks about how we can have a Christian life in the first place because Christ, again, he does no sin. There's no guile in him. Revile not again. Suffered, threaten not. Commit himself that judges righteously. Why? Because who in his own self bare our sins in his own body on the tree, that we, being dead to sin, should live unto righteousness, by whose stripes you were healed. There's Isaiah. For you're as sheep gone astray, but are now returned unto the shepherd and bishop of your souls. Now, so we are able to be sheep, have life because of the cross, but it also puts on us and should weigh upon us the commitment to be as sheep. He did this not just as hellfire insurance, but that we be a new creation, we be a new creature, that we be servants of God, that we would do the will of God, that we would be honest, that we would love one another, that we abstain from fleshly lusts which war against our soul. There's an example he set before us that we can follow, and because of what he did, he gives us the grace to follow that example. And that is something that should weigh upon us, every Friday, every moment of our lives, really. We need to remember the good example Jesus presents to us, and also remember that's the life we're living, and we abide in this life. It's the life started by this sort of suffering. It continues in that, and it looks unto glory. And it's easy to forget that, and we ought not do so. But there it is. We have our good shepherd and our substitute dying for us because he loves us. And he calls us to love as he loves. And he's allowed us to do so by putting his love in our hearts. And that's why this Friday is good. It's a good Friday. It's good. It can be painful. It's costly, but it's good. And have that attitude with your own life and your own Christian life as well. It's good. Christian life is good. It's not easy. It's good. That's something we can rest on and think about always, but especially tonight.